Yes, ma'am, it's visible, ma'am.
Okay. So when it comes to leadership skills for teachers, why it is becoming so and so important is because teachers are generally known as you know the uh, the formulators of future of this nation. So we are the we teachers are somebody who will nurture the building blocks of tomorrow, the students of tomorrow. So it is important that we exhibit leadership skills that not only motivate them, but also make them proactive towards the ever-changing environment. So it is rightly said that a mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, but a great teacher inspires. So, as a teacher leader, the foremost important thing is to inspire not only the students but all those who are working with you, above you, subordinate to you, all those who are, there in your working environment. So, teacher leadership, it is an influence that goes beyond classroom boundaries, drives a positive change, inspiring students, colleagues, and the community. Why teacher leadership is important? Because number one, it helps in shaping educational policies. Secondly, a teacher leader helps to enhance the teacher retention, strengthens interdisciplinary collaboration, facilitate change management. It is rightly said there is only one thing which is permanent, and that is the change itself. So, teacher leadership helps in facilitating the management of this change. It encourages professional autonomy. So, I have, in a way, what major characteristics a teacher leader should have. I have categorized that in a very few bullets. Number one, visionary should be able to see what future holds and how to tap the opportunities the future is bringing in. Empathetic, the teacher leader should be able to understand and should be able to get into the shoes of other person and should be able to understand the position of other person and react as if the teacher leader was in that position. Proactive, rather than reacting after something has happened, the teacher leader should be proactive, should act before something has happened. Committed to goals, committed to achieving the objectives. Reflective, the teacher leader should be able to reflect on the decisions, he or she has taken and how those decisions has helped those around her or him. Analytical, should be able to analyze the situations with rationality. Adaptable, see, because the change is happening, we are in an ever-changing environment. So it is important that a teacher leader should be adaptable to the changes going around and patience. Leadership skills for teachers, qualities that drive educational impact. So over here, what I've done is I've tried to put in the skills through major five categories, starting with leading from within. That starts with within the teacher, leading through relationships, how you build strong relationships in a way, leading through instruction, leading with vision, and leading to uplift others. So a teacher leader should not only be focused on uplifting himself or herself, rather should focus on how they can take along those around them, whether it is their students or colleagues or the community, and can help them to achieve higher goals. So the first category is leading from within, which involves self-leadership and professional identity. So this skill helps to establish the foundation for leading with integrity, vision, and discipline. So the first thing which comes under this category is professional development, which means commit to a lifelong learning. You should never be able, a a teacher who wants to be a leader should never feel that, yes, I have learned everything. No, there is no end to the learning you can have. So you should be focused and you should be committed to learn, relearn, and unlearn. Right? Unlearn the old things, relearn what is important nowadays also, and learn the new things that are coming around. So how can you do this? By attending various workshops and trainings, reflecting on the teaching practices that you are currently following and how those practices can be improved. Stay informed on trends and research. Because what are the latest additions to the research? You should be aware of that. And what teaching trends after, COVID-19, there has been a paradigm shift in the teaching method. Initially, online classes were a necessity in times of COVID-19, but after COVID-19 also, online classes have more or less become a regular part of our teaching methodology. So it is important that we are aware of what the trends and research in our field is going on and what new technologies or what new things we can adapt to. Second is ethical leadership, which means uphold integrity and fairness. Unless and until you are fair and you are honest, right, and you treat everyone as an equal, you cannot be a leader. For a leader, it is important that you treat everybody with equality and fairness. So this can be done when you yourself show the honesty and responsibility, because your followers are going to, as a leader, your followers you are going to look up to you when it comes to fulfilling a responsibility, or whenever it is whenever there is a situation where you need to exhibit honesty without any influence. So it is important that how you become a role model for them in that category. Then promote ethical behavior. Ensure fairness in discipline and grading. Whatever whenever you are evaluating any of your students, you should evaluate the student without any discrimination or without any favorism. Then initiative, take the lead. Just do not wait for others to come. Being a leader, you are a leader, so you are meant to lead. And a person who is not ready to take the initiative cannot lead. So to lead, you need to take the initiative. You need to take the lead, right? So how it can be done is volunteer for leadership roles. Do not constrict yourself to the designation you are holding and to the responsibilities that come up with the designation. If you feel that you can be a leader in certain situation your organization is facing, be a volunteer, take the initiative, and be a volunteer and take the initiative for the leadership role. Start new programs or clubs. You feel that your institution lacks in getting any skill which is very required nowadays. So be a leader, take an initiative and start a new program or club which can help your institution achieve that you know course or subject. For example, nowadays digital marketing is something which is very important and very prevalent. So if you feel that your institution lacks a club or a program which is specifically targeted to digital market, and you have that requisite knowledge and you feel like, yes, I can, be a contributor to that, thing, and I can provide the knowledge regarding this. So be a volunteer, be a leader, take the initiative and start a program, drive improvements in the institution. Whenever you feel that there are certain things that need to be changed, there is a scope of improvement, then drive it. Organization, stay organized and stay effective. Manage time and task efficiently. Whenever some task is given to you, try manage that in your time schedule, right? And do that, in doing that task within the time limit, do not compromise on the quality of the task, right? Do that task efficiently and make it a point that you manage to do it in the timelines that you have set for yourself or in the timelines that have been set for that particular task. Keep the lesson plans and materials orderly. For every lesson plan, whenever you give a lesson plan to your pupil, make it a point that it is in a order that is it is in an orderly manner. Use tools for tracking student progress rather than just relying on the examination that are held in your institution. Try to figure out new ways in which you can evaluate the knowledge of the students and try to come up with the methods that are able to test the conceptual knowledge of the students rather than just focusing on what at the end of the year they are able to learn. Try to evaluate how much conceptual knowledge they are aware of, how much clarity they have in when it comes to the concept. Resilience, lead with strength. It is one of the very, I guess, for me, I feel is this is one of the most important quality any individual who wants to be a leader in his or her life. So this one quality is everybody should possess, that is resilience. You should lead by strength. You should not bow down when you get some setbacks. No, stay positive through setbacks. Figure out that why these setbacks come in and bounce back more strongly with challenges, right? Model perseverance for the students. Now your students will surely be, looking up to you in terms of difficult situations or in terms where they're going to face challenges. So show them the perseverance that yes, if you will continue to focus and continue to work hard, hard and hard until and unless you get the best result, they'll look up to you and they'll also follow the same footsteps. So second category of this leadership skill is leading through relationships. As we discussed in the start, just 2 minutes. Leading through relationships. So you should lead with relationship. You should take those who are around you with yourself and help them to achieve. So this can be done by fostering trust, inclusion, and positive relationships. So the skills that are required for this are number one, communication skills. Whenever you communicate, communicate with clarity. The other person who is listening to you or who is at the receiver end must perceive or must get the message in the same way you wanted to convey it to, right? So this can be done when you foster open dialogue with students, parents, and colleagues. It has to be a two-way discussion, whether you are discussing something with the students or their parents or the colleagues. It has to be an open communication, a two-way communication. Use of non-verbal and non-verbal cues. Practice active listening. So it is not that you only speak, speak, and speak. Let the other person share his or her views and be an active listening and try to figure out what they actually want to say. Then emotional intelligence. Now in today's world where everybody is paying so much attention to the mental health of individuals, this one quality is very important. Emotional intelligence. We have already focused on, in the past, the focus was on IQ, intelligent question. Now, the focus is being shifted to EQ, emotional intelligence, that how good a person is managing in his or her emotions in tough situations. So then, number one, you can do is by recognizing and managing your emotions, by empathizing with the students and colleagues, trying to understanding their situation, putting yourself into their shoes, putting yourself into their place, and see that how would you react if you were at their place. Build strong relationships, collaboration, work together to succeed. Do not always feel that only you should outshine or only you should progress. You should learn to work as a team and to succeed as a team. So now, one thing is important. It is important to work as a team, but it is more important if you succeed as a team. So in a team, teach with colleagues, share strategies and resources, engage with families and communities. These things would certainly help you to find new things and new strategies and new ideas which you can also implement and which you can get benefit from also. Conflict resolution, resolve conflict constructively. Now, when we say that resolve conflict constructively, that means that the end result of every conflict that you resolve, it should, result in positive outcome. It should not further, induce negativity in the relationship. Rather, it should focus on adding positivity into relationships. So what you can do is address issues calmly and fairly. Do not give your favoritism to any person, even if you are close to a person. If there is a conflict within a person from your department or other department, do not unnecessarily favor the person is from your department just for the reason that yes, he or she is my departmental colleague. I should focus on that. No, you should address every issue calmly and fairly. Mediate dispute. Be a mediator where you can mitigate not only the disputes that are happening today, but also future disputes that might occur. Promote restorative practices, how you can restore the relationships back to normal. You should, after dispute, it is very important that the situation and the relationship should be restored back to what they were before the occurrence of such dispute, right? So try that yes, you resolve conflict in a way that it brings this, situations and relationship back to normal. Cultural competence, teach with cultural awareness. So now we have so much diversity around us, and diversity is one of the most important quality which we can have in our institution, a very strong quality that an institution can inculcate. So whenever you teach or whenever you lead, be aware of what cultures around you, cultures the students belong to. Understand diverse backgrounds, right? Understand what implications of your ideas or views or teachings will have on students or people from diverse backgrounds. Foster inclusive environment. The environment that you create in your classroom, whether as a teacher or in a meeting as a leader or in an organization as a leader should be such that people from all walks of life, all background, should feel comfortable in being a part of it. You should not restrict the entry of certain category of people. You should be able to, create an environment where everybody can come without any fear, preconceived fear that, they'll be perceived in certain way due to their background. So whether it is their caste, their income group to which they belong, or the religion to which they belong, that or the culture to which they belong, that should not inhibit their inclusion in the environment, work environment. Integrate multicultural content. So whenever you give example to your class, to your students, try to incorporate the examples, relevant practical examples from different cultural or different backgrounds so that everyone in the class can feel that yes, they are a part of that, example. Third is leading through instruction. So this is something which we teachers are used to. The day we start this profession, giving instruction becomes an indispensable part of our life. So this quality is leading through instruction, which involves pedagogical and instructional leadership, which involves elevating teaching and learning through classroom expertise and innovation. Classroom management, master the classroom environment. Okay, so remember one thing, whenever in your class you are the master, it is for you how, in which direction you will take your classroom into, and you are the designer of the environment in your classroom. So what environment you create, what environment you design for your students in the classroom through your views, through your ideas, or through your ways of teaching would certainly impact how efficiently you can manage your class. So make it a point that you are able to master your classroom environment, establish clear rules and routines. It is important for students to understand the importance. It is not necessary that you only establish rules and routines. Make it a point that those rules and routines are diligently followed. And that will start with you. If you follow the rules and routines you have set, because the students are going to look up to you. If they see that a teacher is very punctual to class, comes in class on dot time, they would also make it a point that if the teacher comes to the class on point, they should be seated in their class on time also. promote positive behavior, maintain an engaging learning space. It should not, your teaching should not be such that you only are the speaker and the other person is only the listener. It should be a two-way communication, a two-way discussion where, the students or the colleagues who you're working or the community who you want to lead are able to express their ideas also, are able to give their views also. Okay, it is not only you giving your views or ideas, it is the entire part, participants of that learning space. They are actively participating it, actively contributing it. Creativity, teach creatively. Now, this is something which is very important nowadays with an introduction of new education policy 2020 and coming up of, by diverse courses for traditional programs. So it is something which every teaching faculty should inculcate that how they can make their learn teaching more creative so that the students are forced to get more and more engaged in your teaching. So develop engaging lessons. You can quote relevant examples of the current situations that are going on around the students, which the students are being impacted by, or you can, utilize case study methods to actually explain them practically the concept you are discussing with them. Use innovative methods like case study, as I said earlier, or role playing, right? These methods can certainly, elevate the learning process of the student. Encourage student imagination. Make it a point that your students are able to think out of the box, not only just for saying, but literally. Make their awareness, help them, and encourage them to increase their awareness beyond the walls of classroom. Right? Encourage them to grab knowledge from the things that are happening around them. Motivation, inspire learning and growth. Encourage students to do their best. Use praise and constructive feedback, right? Praise if a student is doing good, give them unwholesome praise. If you feel that a student is not, you know, or a follower or a colleague or a community you want to lead to is not working at a level which you think should wish to work, that the student should work to, give them a constructive feedback. Do not just point out the negative. Ask, tell them how they can improve on in their weak areas and how they can make their negative areas into positive areas. Foster growth mindset. Inculcate growth mindset in terms of that they are able to uh, focus on future goals which they can achieve. Technological proficiency, integrate technology effectively. So one thing COVID-19 that has had taught us is how important technology becomes in critical times. So technological proficiency is very important nowadays. This can be done by using digital tools. So where you have digital tools like Google Classrooms, which you can use and you must use, support student technological use, keep up with educational technological trends. Sorry for the disturbance. Next category or skill which we want to discuss is reading with vision. So when you talk about vision, it involves two things. One is to adapt to current situation, and second is to strategize for forthcoming situation. So it involves driving sustainable improvement through data, vision, and agile thinking, right? So sustainable improvement is very important. The way you lead should not only induce improvement that is going to stay in present times, but that is going to linger on to a longer time period. So it can be done if it is backed by a relevant data set, a proper vision, and agile thinking. right? A quick thinking. So number one, skill that comes under this category is visionary thinking, which means think beyond the classroom, set clear goals for long-term student growth. So, as I earlier told you, I had pointed out that you have to not only set goals to be achieved in a shorter period of time, rather than focus on setting long-term goals that would ultimately lead to student growth. Inspire innovation, inspire your students to come up with innovative ideas, to come up with innovative ways aligned with school's mission. Then decision making, making informed decisions. So now whenever you make decision, it is informed, it should be an informed decision. That means it should be backed by a um, relevant, what do you call that? Well, it should be backed by a relevant data or a relevant uh, proof that yes, this decision is going to help in this way. So analyze the situation critically, weigh pros and cons. Do not only go for positive or only negative. Weigh in positive, what are the positives and negative of that particular decision, and see what is more involved more. If the negatives are more there or the positives are more there, and take your decision accordingly. Act in the best interest of the students, because we ultimately, we as a teachers, we are there to nurture the students. So whenever we may take any decision or act in a certain way, the foremost important thing is that we act in best interest of the student. Problem solving, tackle challenges head on, right? Identify the root cause. Number one is to identify why such any, if there is any problem, what would be the reason that that problem arose. Develop practical solution rather than just verbally telling, okay, this situation is there, this problem is there, it can be solved. Just come up with a practical solution. Involve student in critical thinking. Do not take everything in your hand. If there is a problem a student is facing, try to figure out what students think about that problem. See to it, if student has an idea that how he or she wants that, or how he or she feels that can solve his or her problem. So in this way you inculcate critical thinking among students, and that quality is very important. Adaptability, embrace change. I told you, and I pointed out in the start that there is only one thing which is permanent, and that is the change itself. So being a leader, adaptability to change is something which comes inherent. So number one, adjust to curriculum updates. When NEP was introduced, initially there were inhibitions amongst teaching fraternity that how would these be adopted, given specifically what I read in newspaper, specifically in colleges where there is semester system and we have comparatively lesser time to teach. So introduction of NEP led to increase in number of subjects. So so you have to adapt. You just there is a problem. Number of subjects have increased, but how you adapt to that problem and how you adapt to that update in curriculum is something which is going to help you in making a good leader. Innovate with new teaching methods. Stay flexible with student needs. Next is leading to uplift others. Empowerment and capacity building leadership. You should not only uplift yourself, but those around you by empowering them and by building up their capacity, encouraging them to take up qualities that will help them to achieve goals, developing others and cultivating leadership across the educational ecosystem. The first thing that comes into this is mentorship, guiding and inspiring peers. So whenever you become a mentor, you are not only a mentor to a student, but a mentor to a new faculty member that joins your institution, mentor to a parent who comes up with a student to your institution. So be a mentor that not only guide but also inspire. Support new teachers, share expertise, encourage professional growth. Whenever, supporting new teachers it will certainly be what problems you faced when you joined in an institution. You can help a new teacher to understand those problems and help them so that they are not, they do not face situations, or if they face it all, they are able to overcome it also. Delegation, share responsibilities, right? So empower students with role. This is one of the most important activity or most important teaching method that teachers should use, irrespective of you are a school teacher or university teacher or a college teacher. Role playing. Ask your students to explain the concept to the class. Take the role of teacher and see how they come up with good ideas or how they come up with new ways of teaching. Work with teaching assistants effectively, collaborate in team setting, right? Work together. Do not just, you know, be that only you are there to shine out, only you should shine out. No, take everybody together, share your responsibilities, and succeed as a team. So this is a summary table of what 5 leadership skills that we have discussed so far. So the number one domain, leading within. The key skills in this is resilience and initiative. An example of what impact will help in your classroom would be staying calm under pressure. So if you are resilient, or if you have this habit of taking an initiative, you would certainly create a calming environment even in pressurized situations. Leading through relationships. So इसमें what things or key skills you need to have: communication and cultural awareness. The classroom impact example could be building trust with parents so that they are not apprehensive in sending their wards to the school or the college, and with the feel or with the fear that whether they would face any uh, discrimination or something due to their background. So, you should be aware and you should be able to build trust with the parents. Leading through instruction, this can be done through motivation and classroom management, right? So, इसमें the best way is how much you are able to engage the low participating students. Every in your class we have in every class there are some students who do not want or who do not wish to come out of their shell, and it takes a lot of effort to make them come out of that shell. So as a leader, it is important for you that those students who are shy to come out of their shell, or who have that who feel do not feel confident to participate more actively, engage those students. Leading with vision, decision making, and adaptability. That is leading curriculum revision project, right? Help them. If you feel that a curriculum needs, you feel that a particular subject needs certain topics that are to be discussed, come up with that initiative. Ask that be revise the curriculum so that those relevant topics can also be discussed. Leading to uplift others, mentorship and delegation. Coaching a new teacher in team meeting is one of the classic examples for this. Next up, there is a small case study I have on Miss Roderick's leadership journey. It is this case study is basically on how a simple teacher who is not into any leadership role, who sees a problem, volunteers that yes, I can be a part of solution to that problem, despite not being into any position of tackling that problem. How she comes up with a solution and what impact she has. So Miss Isabel Rodriguez, a dedicated ninth grade teacher at Lincoln Elementary, had a passion for literacy and a talent for engaging her students with reading and writing. She consistently achieved higher literacy outcomes in her classroom, right? But however, Ms. Rodriguez recognized that literacy rates across the schools were lagging, particularly in younger grades. So she figured out that what problem the school was facing. She didn't constricted herself to her classroom teaching. Rather, She recognized the problem that the school was facing. Believing that a school-wide approach was needed, she decided to take up the initiative to improve literacy outcomes of all students. Despite not being in a formal leadership situation, she's not in a formal leadership situation. She is a normal classroom teacher of a ninth grade. That despite of this, she sees a problem or takes ownership of that yes, she can be a part of that solution and she can lead it despite not formally being a leader of in that situation. So what she did is, number one, she gathered data. She analyzed school-wide reading scores and met with teachers in different grades to understand the challenges they faced in literacy instruction. So she started at the ground level by figuring out that what are the root causes of that problem. What instructors, rather than focusing on why students are facing difficulty, started with what the instructors who is guiding or who is teaching the students what problem that instructor is facing. Then build a coalition. She formed a small group of like-minded teachers who were passionate about literacy and willing to collaborate on a solution. So she didn't individually, took that thing. She collaborated as a team. She worked as a team, built as a team, encouraged team building, and did the delegation part and yes, and worked towards achieving the solution. Developing a proposal, the group created a proposal for school-wide literacy initiative that included evidence-based strategies, professional development for teachers, and increased parental involvement. So they see uh, when when they came up with a proposal, the first thing was it was backed by an evidence, and that could only be done because the start of this, Miss Rodriguez, when we started up figuring out the solution for the problem, she started with gathering the data so that when whatever solution she is going to come up with, she will have a a strong evidence for that solution. Yes, yes, this is a pollution. This is the problem. I have an data which tells me about the problem, and this data only tells me what solution can be targeted to this problem. Right? Advocating for change, Ms. Roderick and her coalition presented a proposal to the school principal and the school board and passionately advocated for its adoption. So it is not that they simply made the proposal, did the formality of presenting it to the principal, but rather they passionately advocated that yes, their proposal should be implemented also. So what result she could achieve or her group achieved was her efforts led to implementation of a new literacy program, ongoing professional development, family literacy workshop, and over the next 2 years, the school saw a significant improvement in overall literacy rate. So over here, what we can say, what they then, when they implemented the program or the solution, what they involved, number one, they helped in an ongoing professional, a continuous professional development, and they also involved the family into it so that it can have a long lasting impact. So there are certain discussion questions that we can, see from it. What, and I would be happy if you could also come up with what you feel, could be the reason for that. Number one is what leadership skills did Miss Rodriguez demonstrate in this case? Anybody who can just put in the answer in the chat box that what you feel that what is one or two leadership skill that Miss Rodriguez demonstrated in this case. Anybody who can come up with what you feel that we have discussed the case study in detail. So what do you feel that what leadership skill that Ms. Rodriguez applied in this case? Anyone? Just put it in the chat box. You don't want to reply. Just put it in the chat box what you feel that the skill she applied. Okay. So what I feel is what leadership skills did Ms. Rodriguez demonstrate was initiative, data analysis, collaboration, communication, advocacy, and vision. She took the initiative of coming up with a new literacy program, did data analysis before coming up with a solution. She figured out why the problem arose. Collaboration, she formed a coalition, formed a team who could work into this, communicate, right? What proposal they made, the group made, that was communicated to school board and principal. It was not only communicated, but it was passionately advocated so that it was adopted. It was made sure, the group made it a point that yes, the proposal was adopted by the school. And finally, vision, she could see what forthcoming things school would be facing, so she came up with a program which would not only be helpful in current situation but in also in future situation. So how did Miss Rodriguez influence change without holding a formal leadership position? If anybody of you can come up with any idea apart from this, you're most welcome. Let us make it a two-way communication rather than let us make it a discussion. How did Miss Rodriguez influence change without holding a formal leadership situation? Number one, she, u- she used her expertise and passion to identify a problem and propose a solution. She built a coalition for support among her colleagues. She effectively communicated it and demonstrated that leadership can come from any role. You do not have to be a formal leader to lead. You can be a normal person, but if you have it in yourself to lead, you can be a leader. Third is, what challenges might Ms. Roderick have faced and how did she overcome them? I feel these are the challenges she had: resistance to change, lack of resources, bureaucracy, time constraint, and maintaining momentum. Right? So, what do you feel, anybody, that how could she overcome to them? To be challenges she was facing, how you feel, anybody who can come up with an answer, that how did she overcome them? Anyone? Okay. How important was collaboration in the success? Yeah, anybody? Can anybody come up with an idea that how she did, how, how she overcame to that? Or put yourself into her shoes that if you were in a situation, how would you face these challenges? Okay, so how important was collaboration in success of this initiative? So, as we can see from case study, this this initiative could only succeed because there was a team who worked together to finding out the solution. There was not a single person who was working towards it. There was a team that was working towards it. Collaboration played a pivotal role in the success of this initiative. Ms. Roderick's effectiveness was markedly enhanced through her collaborative engagement with fellow educators. The integration of diverse perspective and expertise significantly enriched it. So, how collaboration helped is because when you work and when you discuss with number of people around you, you get new ideas, and you get new perspectives of the same situation, right? And that situation can be solved more fruitfully then. Moreover, this collaborative approach fostered a strong sense of collective ownership, responsibility among the faculty, which proved critical to both successful implementation and enduring sustainability of the initiative. So, the last question to this case study is, what lessons about teacher leadership can be learned from this case? So these are certain, these four lessons I feel that we can learn from this. And again, I'll be happy if some of you want to share your views about also on what you feel that, this case study has taught you or what lesson you have learned from this case study. So number one is, teachers can be powerful leaders even without formal positions. And it is not only limited to teachers. Any person, any organization you're working in a bank, you're working in a corporate structure, you're working in any organization. If you don't need to be a formal leader to be a leader. If you have, or if you wish, or if you volunteer, if you possess those qualities, you can be a powerful leader without even formally being a leader. Effective leadership involves identifying problems, building relationships, and advocating for change. Right? So it starts from identifying the problem, then comes up with fostering coalition or collaboration or team building, and finally it ends up with advocating strong advocation of change. Collaboration is essential for successful change initiative. You cannot single-handedly change things around you. You have to have support of others also who also feel the same thing and who also feel that they can also that this change is needed. Data and evidence can be powerful tools for influencing decisions. See, whenever you will come up with any solution, you will have to give a reason for others to believe it, and others will only believe it if your solution is backed by a realistic data or a realistic evidence that yes, this problem ka ye wala solution, and this solution has been applied earlier, or this solution can result into this thing. Reflective questions. Now, these questions, I want each one of you to, think about it, that what leadership do you already have? Think about it that, yes, amongst the leadership skills we have discussed, that what do you have? What area would you like to develop? What skills you feel that, yes, I lack in it or I can improve on it? And how can you begin tomorrow? How it is not that, you know, you just feel like, yes, okay, मेरे पास I have this leadership skill or I need to inculcate this leadership. You have to start working on inculcating that leadership skill also. So this is a task that I want each one of you to do. Pick one skill, leadership skill you feel you have, apply it on next week, and journalize the reflections. Journalize that what changes you noticed when you applied that skill, and when you journalize that, do figure out that what problems you face, that okay, what problems you face, or what skill whether that skill applied was what you had only, or you applied a new skill, right? And when you journalize the reflections, do journalize the positives and negatives both. What hurdles you faced or what resistance you faced from others. Journalize that and see what you have learned. So this is a basic teacher leadership reflection journal, right? So the PPT, this is something which I guess on the 5 skills we have discussed. See that every week try to apply one skill and make with reflection journal, and then you see that from the start to the next, how much you have improved or how much you have changed. Okay, so this is a reflection journal which every individual must have. It should not be because our topic is teacher leadership, so I have written teacher leadership. But this reflection journal, this can be used, or this must be used by every individual who wishes he or she can be a leader, right? So see what leadership skill you have, or you already demonstrated, how you can further strengthen it. Lead through relationship. ठीक है, तो इसमें देखो कि how do I currently lead, where can I improve, how I can connect with others, lead through instruction, what new instructions I can give in the classroom, what new instruction strategy can I adopt in my classroom, or will I try this month or this week. What is one, when it comes to leading with vision, what is one long-term goal I have for my students? What small step I can take this week toward it? So start with setting up a long-term goal for your students and start with a very basic step of achieving that. Leading to uplift others. How have I empowered a peer or a student recently? When you will see that you have brought a positive change in others' life, you will yourself feel that yes, you will yourself feel very nurtured and very positive, right? What is one way I will mentor or delegate this week? So it is not that once you have mentored a peer or a student, it is done. No, you have to continuously see to it that yes, how you can mentor again and how you can more efficiently delegate the work. So action commitment is pick one of the leadership skill for 1 week and see that this week I'll be focusing on self leadership, or next week I'll be working on relation leadership, it means leading through relation. Next week I'll be focusing on strategic leadership, which involves leading through vision, then instruction leadership, right? So figure out, say what your action step is and review it. Do not only just write it, do not only see, just write it as I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Review your progress also. That were you able to do it? Were you able to really, put into practical aspect the skills you thought you will, achieve, or the skills you will apply? Were you practically able to apply it? If not, why not? Right? And if yes, what progress you have made, so that you can understand that yes, these are things need to be improved, or this is the way you can, in a way, better way you can apply the skill. So I thank you for your attention. And this is one quote that I want each one of you to remember: that leadership starts with you. Do not wait for other person to, be your leader. If you feel, if you think that in any situation you have the requisite skill, or you feel like yes, you can be the change maker, you can take a team along yourself, do start it. Do not wait for the others to push you, or do not wait for others to take the position ahead from you. If you have it in yourself, be confident enough and see and focus, and yes, take up the challenge. Yes, yes, I can be a leader. I can lead a team, or I can mentor a person, or I can uplift a person, and I can, uh, inculcate positive changes and inculcate growth, sustainable growth. So yes, leadership, it starts with you. So you start it as early as possible, right? So these are the leadership skills. What I feel, no, leadership skills can not be constrained to only these five categories. I've tried that, yes, okay, what major skills we can categorize and come together. So what that I've tried to put in, but there are n number of more skills that as a leader, especially in today's environment, must possess. And yes, we have leader, and you must possess. So yes, try to figure out what skills you can inculcate in yourself and how can you lead. And yeah, that's it. That's it for the day. And just remember, once again, just remember that leadership starts with you. The sooner you start, the better it is. Because after all, the future, you are the person who are going to nurture the students, who are going to nurture the future generation. So how well you nurture them, it is going to be reflective of how well you are able to lead them. So certainly it will have a direct impact on their future, on their future. How much, you see, what kind of, what quality of future leaders you are able to prepare would certainly depend upon what quality as a leader you have now, right? So how your teacher leadership qualities can reflect among your peers, among your students, among the community, can certainly have a positive impact. Thank you everyone for the attention. And now